Fine, fine, fine. Now from optional, we will move to another area which is very potential and since last 3 years has become very crucial in selection, right? And that is GS paper for ethics,
Yes, indeed.
right? I think in no other GS people are getting 100 plus, but in ethics people are getting, and it has become crucial. So I would like to know what approach you adopted for ethics paper. How much you got in ethics?
I got actually my least marks are in ethics. I have got good marks in like 125 in GS1.
Okay.
Some around 90 or 89 in paper 2.
Okay.
118 in paper 3.
Uh-huh.
But paper 4 I got something around 88.
Okay.
I know the reasons why it happened.
Okay, just let us know what reasons that has become more important.
No, I think I did a bit of a miscalculation. What I did was I tried to write these part B of the paper first. Now
Okay.
in part B we have case studies.
Yeah.
So somehow I spend most of the time answering those
More
case
importance
studies.
to cases.
Case studies. Even when the case studies were such that they were slightly less clear and slightly dicey. So, but at the same time, part A was much easier as compared to part B, in which you could have scored very well. So I somehow I mismanaged the time, so I could not complete my part A very well. So that is something I think that
That was the problem.
that was the problem area. Yeah.
Okay, so related to this only, my question is that which part is more important, theory and case studies? I mean, is it like combined effort, or like we need to give separate importance to case studies and theory?
I think while preparation, we should give separate emphasis to both. I would be as clear as that. But when it comes to examination, don't go with a preconceived notion that you want to do, attempt this first or that first. This is from my personal experience. Look at the paper and see in which area you find that you can answer better. If you think that part A is easier for you, start doing part A, finish it quickly, go to the part B. So that should be approach. So don't keep any preconceived notions. But when it comes to preparation, the approach is slightly different, because when it comes to case studies, it's all about situations and trying to understand situations as comprehensively and as diversely as possible. While as the questions, the paper one, they're more subjective. And in part one, I think there is one thing which is very important here is, so when they are asking a question, say what is happiness for you, they don't actually want an answer from Socrates or Epicurus. They want an answer from you.
Yes.
So try to be as genuine and as thorough as possible. So that's the one part. So in second paper, while dealing with case studies, practicing case studies helps a lot. And many a time some of these case studies come in examination which have been in news or which have been in discussion for a while. For example, this year there was one case study that in some school there was a cook who was Dalit.
Yeah.
And when the villagers, the people of that village had come to know that the cook is a Dalit, they started withdrawing their children from the school. So if you are a collector or an administrator, what are you going to do? I remember the last year in October or November, it was in Express had done, Indian Express, there was a coverage for many days, the same event, what happened and how they did. So there's a lot of learning from these. So I would suggest that when you are reading newspapers, particularly, do stay mindful of these things as well. That even if those things are not asked directly, yet there's a lot of learning, a lot of wisdom that you can get from these.
I think I personally feel the case studies and theory part, they are not separate. If you see them in integrated, right? Because in case study you have to take a stand and you have to justify your stand. So justification will come from
part A. That's also true. That's also true. That's also true.
So people come, every year people come and they just demand these are just 2 case studies. Give us 5 classes. We want to do only case studies. I'm really surprised. I mean, how can anybody do case studies without discussing theory?
Yeah, theory is definitely important.
Integrated view, right?
That's true.
One thing I'll appreciate, and this is very true fact, people have written without reading anything, and they have written what they felt.
Yes.
They have got very good marks.
They have got very good marks. They have got very good marks. That's I also understood that. It's that genuineness, and they really want your
technicalities are not
technicalities are really not there.
One of my students, he got 110. Time in. So I just went there and I just saw questions and sochta gaya and kept on writing. Right. But that guy, he's 43rd rank, right? Kumar Harsh.
Okay.
his reading habits are very wonderful. Probably that.
Yeah, it really helps. In fact, I have found it in GS as well. That if you have read diverse books, they do help you a lot. For example, in GS paper 1, there was this question on civilizational continuity. In Indian civilization as compared to Mesopotamian or the Iranian and other Egyptian civilizations. So people, I found many other friends who had no idea what to write here. Then I had read this book, Discovery of India. And Jawaharlal Nehru in initial 2-3 chapters, he discusses only this. This is the central theme of his initial 2-3 chapters. Similarly, last year there was this question on.
Now you have mentioned Discovery of India, and many candidates now will mug up Discovery of India.
No, they don't. You don't have to mug up.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to mug
just
up.
Make it clear.
Yes.
Any book is referred. It is not that you run after that.
Yes. You don't have to do that. These are
chance only.
These are additional books. That is, apart from your basic books that you have to read. Apart from if you have time, you should also read other books as well. It's a good habit.
Yeah,
I would say. Yes. And they also help you in other ways. You get different arguments, different points of view. They make your answers better.
Yes. You have depth.
Yes, you don't have to like एकदम ऐसा नहीं करना कि अब history वगैरह छोड़ दी, Discovery of India ही पढ़ोगे आप. No, you don't have to do that.
Many people have tendency to now keep Vipin Chandra and NCERTs, and Discovery of India has to be read.
Yes, we don't have to do that. I keep on emphasizing in this that this examination somehow has a trade-off. A trade-off in the sense that on one side the quantum of syllabus is huge, at this other type the depth is important. So you don't have to go that much deep that you miss other things. So that वो एक right proportion में, right depth में चीज़ें पढ़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है. You don't have to do PhD on certain things.
Yes.
वो आप बाद में कर सकते हैं.
I think Gazette of UPSC clearly mentions.
Yes.
Well-aware, educated youth, how he is supposed to behave.
Indeed.
In that same way, you just write in the exams. You don't have to be research scholar.
Yes, exactly. That's true. एकदम बेसिक जो इम्पोर्टेंट एरियाज हैं उनको देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम किसी से NSG अभी काफ़ी न्यूज़ में है, तो क्या है NSG? So why is it important? What role does it have when it comes to the global strategic or scenario? Why is it important to us? Why do we want to go into NSG? So if we want, what are the hurdles? Okay. So अब अगर ये hurdles हैं, what are we doing to overcome those hurdles? So once if we get into NSG, how will it benefit us? So एक बेसिक चीज़ें ये important है. अब इसके बाद हमें एकदम पूरी we don't have to go into each and every member of NSG, how it is doing, what it is done and everything, what the deals that NSG has got.
Especially in the present times it is not required.
It's not.
In my time it used to be that you should be content rich.
Yes.
But now it is more of applied part.
It's applied. You should know what is important. Major चीज़ें आपको पता होनी चाहिए. You cannot afford to not miss some things. But at the same time आपको ये भी understand करने की ज़रूरत है कि somehow the entire universe is the syllabus. आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ें पढ़नी है. तो आप ऐसा ना हो कि आप एक चीज़ के चक्कर में बहुत सारी चीज़ें छोड़ दें.
Many candidates have that research orientation. They start doing research, so they get away from actual preparation of civils. I have two more questions related to ethics. One is paper comes very lengthy. Paper 4 is I think more lengthier than paper 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So how to handle this? I think this is not 3-hour paper.
इसमें ये चीज़ तो बहुत ज़रूरी है. How do you manage time? That becomes very important.
And what I have noticed कि what kind of questions they are asking. They are not asking directly from the syllabus, but they are asking from the periphery
areas.
So you just can't be well prepared before that.
Yes. So what I think is foremost thing is when you see a question, try to understand it well. If you understand the question, you get to know the demand of the question.
Yeah, exactly.
That keeps you confined. आप उसके बाद भटकते नहीं हैं. So if understand the question well, say highlight the major areas, कौन से areas क्या पूछा गया है, then write to the point. Don't deviate. अगर आपको किसी चीज़ के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा पता है, आपको वो सब ज़्यादा नहीं लिखना है. But जो पूछा गया है, जिस हद तक आपको important लगता है, उतना that should be there. So you have to guard against this deviating here, hither and thither. You have to prevent that. That's one thing. Second thing is जब आप आंसर करते हैं, there are ऐसा एक prioritization also helps.
Okay.
Some questions are there जिनका आंसर आप अच्छा लिख सकते हैं. Try to write them first.
Okay.
इसके बदले क्या होता है, कुछ क्वेश्चंस होते हैं जिनके बारे में आपको थोड़ा सा वेग सा आइडिया है एंड यू नो दैट यू कांट राइट ए वेरी गुड आंसर. इफ यू स्टार्ट आंसरिंग दोज क्वेश्चंस पहले, that will consume more time. and ultimately those questions which you would have answered better, you will leave less time for them. So those questions, those which you can answer well, do them quickly, properly. उसके बाद इसके बाद जो questions हैं जिनमें आपको कमज़ोरी लगती है, दिक्कत लगती है, you can complete them as well. और एक चीज़ है कि अगर कोई क्वेश्चन ऐसा है जिसके बारे में आपको भनक तक नहीं है, यू डोंट हैव एनी आइडिया, सो यू डोंट ट्राई टू राइट योर ओन मसाला. वन इज, एक तो वो एग्जामिनर के सामने भी इट प्रेजेंट्स अ वेरी बैड पिक्चर दैट दिस गाय इज राइटिंग नॉनसेंस. You don't have to do that. One thing, and it also wastes your energy as well as your time.
Yeah.
And you also get that feeling, यार बकवास लिखा मैंने. That also impacts the next answer that you are writing. So page ऐसा you have to write what's being asked, not what you know.
Okay. One more question. There are certain topics which are mentioned in paper 2 as well as paper 4. Right? Governance part. Like for example, citizen chart, right to information. It is in paper 2 as well as paper 4. So it seems to be duplication. But of course UPSC won't be doing duplication. So I mean, what topics RTI in paper 4, how it is different from paper 2 RTI?
Personally, I don't find a very hardcore distinction.
Okay.
Because say when we are talking about RTI, say Right to Information Act, we know say in paper 2 most probably they might be more interested in the legal aspects of it, in the constitutional aspects of it, and in ethics part we might be more concerned with how good it is when it comes to tackling corruption, how things, how effectively it brings in that accountability, that responsiveness. And but the two things are very much interconnected. So what I think is that when we are reading RTI, we don't have to read it from ये सोच के this is GS1 के point of view से, या this from ethics point of view. Read it properly, holistically. So what is RTI? Where did it come from? What are the major important provisions of it? So okay, how does it help in bringing transparency? Okay, how does it help us in bringing more accountability? How does it strengthen our institutions of accountability and responsibility? At the same time, what are the loopholes in this whole issue? What are the problems? How it is being misused? So एक holistically चीज़ें पढ़ेंगे, फिर चाहे वो GS1 में आए या GS4 में आए, we'll be able to answer them easily depending on what the question is.
So broadly we can say in paper 4 we need to focus on the ethical dimension.
Yes, that's also
situation based those things. I mean question won't be coming like in paper 4 examine recent amendments made in RTI. I mean this is typical.
This is typical for paper 2. Yes.
I mean this is what we need to understand. Okay, anything which you would like to suggest for ethics paper?
For ethics paper, one thing is, as I told you, that trying to write your answer, not somebody else's answer, is important. Number one. Number second is that your observation really matters. आप theoretically बहुत सारी बुक्स पढ़ के जाएंगे, बट एग्जाम में यू डोंट हैव टाइम टू थिंक और रिकॉल ऑल थिंग्स. आप वहाँ पे वही लिखते हैं जो सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में आपके आ जाता है, जो आप लिख पाते हो वहाँ पे. दैट इज़ द रियल यू, जो आप सोचते हो चीज़ों के बारे में. सो जब हम चीज़ें पढ़ते हैं, वी शुड ऑल्सो ट्राई टू चेंज आवर ओन पर्सपेक्टिव. से अगर हम ऐसे सोशल इश्यूज़ के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, कुछ कल्चरल इश्यूज़ के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज़ के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, तो एक पर्सपेक्टिव अपना डेवलप करना भी बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. तो वो चीज़ें फिर यू कैन ईजीली राइट देम डाउन दैट, जॉट देम डाउन दैट. तो दिस इज़ ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. सो इसके लिए ये इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जब हम पढ़ें, हम खाली ना पढ़ें, वी ऑल्सो थिंक अबाउट देम, इंट्रोस्पेक्ट अ बिट. सो यस, कन्विंस आवरसेल्व्स. अगर हम लोग कन्विंस्ड हैं, जब हम आंसर लिखेंगे, वो चीज़ नेचुरली आ जाएगी हमारे यहाँ पे.
I think by your talks I can say that newspapers are the best source for paper.
Yes, newspaper, in fact for the whole examination, newspaper, I think somewhere it forms 60% of the preparation. I wrote a lot of stuff from newspaper, even in my optional, even in paper 2 I discussed socio-political and many others. I also quoted some of the examples.
So you quote reports and all that.
Yes, even in essays you write a lot about it. Your major source is your newspapers. Current affairs. Similarly, even in GS1, many questions do come in the examination which somehow had been figured in the newspapers or in the news for the past year. So ये चीज़ों का एक बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. You should not ignore newspapers at all.
And people unnecessarily, I think, run to search material in ethics, this book, that book, and ignore material and this and that. But I think newspapers are giving you case studies.
Newspapers
are giving you solutions, as you have mentioned, that incident of Dalit women. I think it was a real incident.
Yes, yes.
And what DM over there did. I think that is the answer.
That is the answer, one sum up. Yes.
That is the answer. Now, there is room for you to think and bring out any alien answer.
Alien
I mean,
answer,
if you are very thorough.
Yeah, you don't have to write an alien answer. You have to write a simple, straightforward answer, which straight away comes from your heart. ये होना चाहिए, मुझे ये लगता है ये ठीक है.
And this is what ethics
This is what ethics is all about.
This is what ethics is. What your conscience is. You do that and stand on that.
Yes.
This is what is required.
That's true.
Okay. Fine. Any suggestions for our ethics class? We conducted some classes before mains. I think you attended those.
I think they were fairly good. We had that 2-3 classes here, and maybe a bit of more answer writing and answer practice will help. In ethics also it will help. It will certainly help.
Something like live answer writing session that will do.
Yes, it should help.
It's the work. Okay, that's wonderful.